to the Hookup on Music with your host, Tony Bird.
Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another Wednesday. And also, welcome to the Hookup on Music, episode 130. We are glad you can join us, or whenever you happen to listen to us. We appreciate it. Always cool to talk music with you guys, and tonight is no different. This past weekend, the Hookup on Music was out on the prowl. They were out and they were about. Where were we? We were at the Riot Fest 2025, celebrating 20 years. We had special access, and we're going to kind of go through what we saw on the Saturday edition of the festival. Just kind of let you know a little bit some of the insights that we kind of seen going backstage. I personally have never been backstage before at any concert, so to have the first time be at a huge festival like Riot Fest, it was awesome. And I only have to thank my good man Mike, who has come on the show multiple times from Chirp Radio. He hooked it up, and boy, did we have a great time. And seen so many bands, even bands I had never heard of before, and just so much music that honestly, we're going to talk tonight about the experience, but I could promise you some of these bands that we seen over the weekend are definitely going to be what I would say some very, very inspirational tunes that you're going to want to check out too, because I can't believe I've missed some of these. But let's kind of get started here at the beginning. About a week ago, I get a call from Mike, and Mike says, "Hey, I may or may not have some Riot Fest backstage passes for this upcoming weekend. I'm not sure yet. I don't have any of the logistics. I'm just saying, hey, if you can go, would you be interested?" And right away, of course, I would have loved to go to all of the days, because all of the days just look like they kicked a lot of butt. But I threw it right out there. I said, well, you can probably most than likely count me in for Saturday's event, which was loaded. I mean, just looking down at that right away, I saw Jack White and the Beach Boys and just so many other bands that I was curious to see. So I said, hey, you know what? Put me down. I'll definitely be going. And then as the week went along and work was a little long and dragging, I kind of was trying to talk myself out of it, until I talked to quite a few people who said, you don't get many opportunities like this. And a year ago, Mike offered me the same exact thing on the day of the festival, and I just could not make it. So I told myself for a full year, if this came up again, you definitely need to put yourself out there, and you definitely need to be there to celebrate, Riot Fest 20 years and all these awesome bands, yada, yada, yada. So then as the week was going on, he was like, still haven't really heard much yet. And I was like, oh, that's okay. Don't worry. I'm just appreciative that you are sharing with me. And then when Friday came along, he says, we're all good. I got him. So right there, Friday, I know that I have an opportunity to go to Riot Fest, see some awesome bands, so on and so forth. So Saturday rolls around, and he says for me to meet him at his place. I finally make the decision, you got to do this. This is once in a lifetime. One day I'm going to be 97, rocking out still. But who knows if I could walk around all these stages when I'm 97. So I say, you know what? This is going to be great. Okay. And he says, we got to get there by, I got to get to his place by 11:30 because he wants to catch this band called Wishy, who, if you're looking on the screen currently now, or if you're just listening, this is what started our whole entire musical expedition. So walk through the gates of Riot Fest. I have never been to this area, so I'm excited to see what are these stages going to look like in person. What is this all going to be about this day? All I can tell you is that I was prepared. I was ready. So we walk around, we kind of look and see some of the things that we get to see. And then Wishy starts, and we get to go right on the main stage, right up close. You could see in the picture, we're like 3 you guys should call them rows. There's lots of space. We could have even gotten closer, but this band Wishy from Indianapolis, let me just say they started the day on a super, super positive note. A 5-piece band that really, really rocked. There were a lot of influences that I heard, and then I just heard some awesome rocking and their own influences. So that was a really cool way to start. And I'm really glad that Mike was like, we got to check these guys out, because again, when you're going to these music festivals and you're looking down at just a big list of names, you're like, well, who can I see? I can't see everybody. And when there is a what's the word I'm looking for? When there is a vibe going on at this concert, you definitely want to be able to check out, well, as much as you can. So let me just say, Wishy was really good. And when waiting for what's the word I'm looking for? When waiting for Wishy, that name is pretty cool. Checked out another band. It was called hold on a second here. I'm trying to get this together here. They but back to Wishy before I continue, is that they definitely there was a lot of 3 guitar attack going on at this concert. A lot of bands having 3 guitars, and they all sounded really, really good, to be fair. I'm not going to say that it was cool actually in a way to see that. But while waiting for Wishy, Speed of Light got their set going. And for a 3-piece, they were loud and heavy, and they were also awesome. While Speed of Light was playing, we kind of got to walk around, and he was showing me some of the stuff because he was there the night before. So he got to I got to see some of his pictures from the night before. Got to take a picture with Weird Al. I thought that was incredible. So I'm like, well, this is going to be awesome. Who are we going to run into, or where are we going to go? So Wishy was awesome. I'm glad we got to watch them from the front, because you're going to notice throughout the day, got to a lot of different angles, a lot of different areas. If you're looking now after Wishy, we walked over to the second set of pretty awesome stages, and a band was playing, a hardcore band called Throne. And personally, I have never heard Throne, like I had never heard Wishy, but it was another awesome experience. Lately here on the Hookup on Music, we've been talking a lot more about some heavy, and these guys brought the heavy. It was really cool to see them in their element. It's cool to see like the guitar player come over and like even take a drink of water, and be like, whoa, these guys are really in the middle of rocking out here. Because we talk a lot on the show about rocking out, but to actually see that up close and personal rocking out, I thought was pretty huge and pretty awesome in a lot of ways. And definitely when I got back home, I started digging into these guys' catalog, and I'm not going to lie to you, I liked what I've heard so far. There's not a lot. There's only about 20 songs, but what there is, the Excess of Guilt from 2024, that album started to kind of dig into. I definitely suggest that you do that pretty quickly, because you're not going to be disappointed. Because, well, definitely new music is awesome. And, well, going on from there, when they're kind of like wrapping their setup, I got like my eye looking over on this other stage, because who is putting their stuff together on this other stage? A little band that you might have heard of. They're a hardcore band from New York. They're called H2O. And again, H2O starts their set off with a little honoring of War Pigs by Black Sabbath. I thought that was really cool. A real dig into some awesomeness. I mean, you could say that. And these guys being around for 30 plus years, they did not disappoint, and they were rocking. The singer jumped into the crowd, and you're saying to yourself, as you could see in the picture, it's just like there's nobody in front of me, and I'm watching this legendary hardcore punk band from the great New York area. So saying here, it's just very interesting to be put into this position, because earlier, like around 8 in the morning or the night before, I'm still not so sure I should be going, but like somebody told me, they go, Wait till you get there. And then once those vibes start to vibe in, then you'll appreciate where it is that you are. And I couldn't have been more thankful or more appreciative, because even the fact of walking over to this stage from the Wishy stage, you got to see all these really, really cool trailers, with lots and lots of awesome band names on it that you just sit and tell yourself and wonder, are these guys inside there? And if they are, what are they doing? At least that's where my mind always goes. Um, you get to see Jack White's trailer and you're like, is he in there? You just really don't know. What was really, really cool about this whole entire weekend was their shout outs to John Stamos. Now, before I was going, I was following this, and I've always known John Stamos did some musicianship with the Beach Boys. I mean, if you got to watch Full House, he sang the song Forever, which was a Beach Boys track sung by Dennis Wilson, which was really interesting. So they were been trying to get him for a long time. They wanted Jesse and the Rippers. He finally agreed and came out and played a set with the Beach Boys, which we're going to get to in a little while. But they also had a John Stamos lookalike contest on Saturday, which was really, really ridiculous. And they had a whole butter statue of the Mr. John Stamos, which was even more ridiculous in form. But where do you go? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? What do you watch? Now, before we get to Gwar, I mean, there was just lots and lots and lots of cool stuff going on at this concert. Before we get over to Gwar, and while we are waiting, a band that I am just, we seen them a while ago, talked about them on the show when we saw them with Clutch, but we personally got to see a really up close performance of Helmet doing Betty, a great, great, great album. If you have not listened to that, and they started that from the beginning to the end. And we watched about 5 to 6 songs off of Betty because, to be frank, something that I've been so excited to see, and I don't even know why, was Gwar. I mean, if you follow Riot Fest in any kind of way, shape, or form, there's one thing that you do know is that Gwar always plays Riot Fest. And they always do a really, really awesome job from what I heard. So we head on over there, and now we're in the middle of like this crowd. It's like being in the middle of all this energy. So it's cool that we are like going to the juxtapositions of being backstage and going into the crowd. So you get to the feeling of everything that's going on at this festival. And that being said, everybody who was really into Gwar, and everybody who was really into seeing good performances, I don't believe that they were disappointed. Gwar is one of the bands that I'll say that their musicianship, like a lot of bands, when they put on a lot of costumes and stuff, maybe their musicianship does not live up. I thought their musicianship lived up to the costumes, and they played some songs that were really, really good. And honestly, I in no way, shape, or form was disappointed by their performance. They did what I heard that they always do, and they sprayed the crowd with blood. If you're following anywhere, there's been controversy about some of the characters that they brought out on stage, but this is Gwar. They've always brought characters out on stage. And when you take things that seriously, it's Gwar. It's Riot Fest, it's a good time. So definitely interesting in a way that I definitely suggest that if you ever get a chance to see them live, especially a headlining show, I might not miss out. Okay, there's only a couple bands here that we're going to talk about where I can tell you that I will probably try my hardest never to miss out on their performances. But it's interesting to see what how that's going to go going down the road forward to me being able to see them more. But definitely put on a performance of performances there. But now they're done, and you're just kind of like what you're getting really ready for and excited for after Gwar said is that you're just really getting excited to see. Well, the Beach Boys are coming up, and honestly, of all the artists that are playing here at the festival, there's something about the Beach Boys that gets me excited. So, we eat some good food. I ate a really awesome tostada with some amazing chorizo. I thought it was excellent. Um, so now I've got some food over behind the stage. There was water and popcorn and nachos. Got some snacks. Um, to be fair, it was a very, very, very awesome time. And when you just really think about, this doesn't happen very often. So all I can keep saying is it's appreciative when you get to share these type of musical experiences. But when you're standing backstage and you're getting ready to watch, we are watching the Front Bottoms, which were a very, very, very awesome band that I had never listened to before. They put on a good show. The crowd was really into them. Walking by us was local indie artists like Sincere Engineer. That was really cool, who opened up for the Front Bottoms the night before. So just being in the presence of awesomeness is really, really cool. Back over at the Helmet stage, when I'm standing there, Lauren O'Neill from Q101 was standing there, just like, whoa, it's kind of so cool to be into this backstage area, because it seems just so, like I kept saying to Mike, like we shouldn't be there, but we had the passes. So that's what's cool. And honestly, after going, I feel like the hookup should be in more situations like this, because it's just so cool to get this and kind of get that feel of being a real lifetime journalist. Like, and that's kind of how I was feeling, as opposed to being like, whoa, look at it was cool to take it all in, but was taking it all in to really share. That was my favorite thing. And while waiting for the Front Bottoms, Beach Boys are getting set up, and you could like walk over there and you could see some of the other bands' cases, like Weezer. Now, before all of this, before we get backstage and watch the Front Bottoms, I gotta tell you, back in 1997, I watched the band James at Lollapalooza, and I was, I don't know, but they put on a show, and we got to watch those guys. We sat in the grass, and these guys put on pretty much like a pop orchestration of awesomeness. I've also went back and started listening to some of their tracks, and there's some really good stuff there. So we're definitely going to be talking about them. But it's just cool to see cases like Weezer's, to go backstage and see that, and pretty much, to go back to here, John Stamos comes running out on the stage. Beach Boys are about to get to start. If you're looking at the picture, it's kind of about where I'm seated. Not really seated, standing. It's like about like three people, and I'm tall, so that's why I'm like in the back, because I'm not going to stand in front of some people who are shorter. But I definitely felt some energy. You could look out in the crowd, and there was literally about 50,000 people singing to the Beach Boys. And honestly, I sang every song that I was standing there to. And I'm not going to lie, there was a point that I had to like block my face like this. Tears were even coming down at some point. Not for John Stamos. I think he's cool. That's not why I was crying. I was crying for all the legendary performances, because if you're looking up on the screen and you're just seeing the history of this band, and Mike Love is still with them, and so is Bruce Johnston, and Riot Fest fans were into it. And to me, it felt almost like an amazing swan song. And John Stamos came out, my man, and he just brought the energy. I mean, I don't know if the Beach Boys would have been as energetic without John Stamos, but boy, my God, John Stamos was a rock star, and he really, 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 really did a very, very awesome job. And they put on a killer set of all the tunes that you'd want to hear if the Beach Boys were playing a concert. You got Little Deuce Coupe, you had just pretty much everything. California Girls, Good Vibrations, Sloop John B, Don't Worry Baby. I got some videos that I'm saving for later episodes to share, because it's just really almost unbelievable. And they wrap up, and the energy is just crazy. You can see them all walking off the stage, going behind this huge stage, seeing them walk off. It's crazy how just trustworthy everything is back there. It feels like you can try. And honestly, out in the crowd too. When I was walking, I thought it was. I would wish. My biggest upsetness is that I should have been going every year for the past 20 years. This is a premium festival that puts on some pretty good premium acts. So what do? We just kind of like scoot on over because the two main stages are like set up like stage here and stage here. And then where Helmet and Throne were like another stage here and stage here. And then where Gwar was its own stage. So there's 5 stages. So like we just kind of like walk 2 feet to where Jack White is. And Jack White is literally where you see the picture. And I've liked Jack White, but seeing live and that, seeing his pedals, seeing as close to seeing his cowboy boots were enough to say, wow, this guy can rock, and this guy is definitely a master of exactly what everybody enjoys that he does, and that's playing the guitar and writing some pretty awesome songs. Digging into his stuff, which we will be doing soon, because I've always been the person who, when you go to a concert, before a concert, you're trying to pile songs in, you're trying to become familiar. Luckily, there are stuff that I'm just so familiar with Jack White that as soon as you hear it, you're ready to rock. You hear a couple songs that you might not be familiar with, but when you're into the as close as you are, and that neon blue light, if you're looking at the picture or just listening, being into that is just really inspiring. And then honestly, more inspiring is being in the crowd. Being in the crowd, taking it in, and being right there. If you can see in the picture, being in those first 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, even if you're all the way in the back. You know, Jack White put on a set that will be remembered in my head. You know, he said some things that I think really brought the level of rock up. And I think definitely when Jack White is in the business of putting on a concert, he's definitely somebody who you don't at all want to miss out on. Not at all. You don't want to miss out because, to be fair, he's really one of the best performing, puts on just such a great show. And his newest album, Untitled, is honestly, if you think it's awesome hearing it on the album, you can imagine how awesome he is when he puts it on live. So check that out. At this point of the evening, if you want to be honest with you, it's about rolling in about 8:50. And I gotta be honest with you, Weezer's left. The band The Damned is left, who I've never listened to. All I know is that they're named in a Bob Marley song. So I'm saying, all right, I really rocked hard. And what I forgot to tell you was that the whole entire set of Jack White, majority of it is Who's Standing Right Next to Me, Mr. John Stamos, which was just incredible. Really, to if you really wanted to be honest with you, that was really cool. He was standing right next to me, and it's hard to be like taking pictures because you're trying to be cool and smooth, but we will share some of those down the line. There was a couple I was able to get some little things here and there. But Mike says that we're going to go watch The Damned, and honestly, I'm like, you know what? He has not steered us wrong all day. I gotta listen to him, and I gotta take it in. So we walk over there, and we decide to get onto the stage in the back. We weren't on the stage earlier for Gwar. We didn't even know if we could get on there. They let us. We're in the back watching with 7 or 8 people, The Damned, and honestly, this, my friends, is the pinnacle of my evening, because this is where I find my wheelhouse of what I enjoy most. Here's a band who's been around since the 70s. Chrissy Hine from The Pretenders was in the band. She left the band, and she said that these guys were musical geniuses and would go on to do some great stuff. Wow. Since that concert, I've listened to The Damned quite a lot, and I've heard just some awesome comparisons. I've definitely zeroed in on albums 3 and 4, Machine Gun Etiquette and the Black Album, 2 albums that we're going to get into later down the line. But if you want to do some pre-listening for a future episode, I definitely would suggest that you should do that, because they put on a show of shows, And what I liked the most is from that fourth album that came out in 1980, there were all four of the members on the stage rocking out at Riot Fest. And when you say that you have been around that long and you are four all original members from this album from 1980, and you get to watch it from the side stage, it's just really awesome and amazing. And it pretty much puts a cherry on the top of the whole entire experience. If you get an opportunity, you could go to YouTube and check out some really, really awesome live footage from Riot Fest from a lot of these performances I'm talking about, especially the Damned. There's one performance where, again, he's right up there in the front row and he's rocking and he is rolling. But honestly, I am shocked. I have never listened to the Damned that much. Now, at the same time, Weezer is playing, and they are playing the Blue album. And honestly, their back screen looked really, really cool. I don't listen to a lot of Weezer. I listen to some Weezer. The Blue album was very important in my life back when it came out. And it's cool to hear those songs. But for me, it's also cool to try to beat the rush of the crowd out. So after the Damned were over, the singer was in the back, and I actually, with this girl's camera, took a picture of her and him, and he did this cool, like, pointing at the camera move, which I thought was pretty awesome. You're not in that very moment very much. And, you just, as you're walking out of the gate from this experience, you're telling yourself, this was just incredible. I saw a band called Speed of Light that I'm going to look into, and that was really cool. Just seeing something like that, seeing the band, seeing earlier when there's not as many people. Waiting for the Beach Boys was probably the most highly anticipated of the whole entire day. And I think it was because of Mr. John Stamos. The crowd was just looking and rearing to go. I thought it was cool as I stood there to see him and the rest of the band all standing on the side of the stage, grabbing their guitars and getting ready, and just the energy to see the crowd out there. And they got pictures of John Stamos. They got, I saw someone, the best thing I forgot to mention is that I saw somebody on like a inflatable like surfboard going across the crowd. I thought that was kind of cool. Don't see that too often. But a moment that I thought was really cool as I was watching James, if you're watching on the screen, is that, during John Stamos and the Beach Boys, he brought a couple girls out on the stage to jam. But James went out on the stage, and they brought everybody who was backstage. So if at the time me and Mike were standing at the same place we were standing for the Beach Boys, I could have been on stage. But what was cool is that I got to see it from the other view. I like this day because I wasn't any one place for a whole long time. You got to walk around, you got to take it all in, all different kinds of music. I mean, I feel like I listen to 6-7 different types of bands, artists. And to me, that is what's important about going to a music festival, is trying to take as much in as you can. And also going around and seeing different stuff. There were like live arcades. There were really cool like visuals. Like I said earlier, there was that giant John Stamos butter. But when you're watching Jack White and your buddy's telling you to look to your 6:30 or to your 9:30, and then I see him and he's just literally standing right behind me with his shades looking, watching Jack White, and I tell myself, this is pretty cool. And it's cool that it happened. But you know what? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, back to reality. I wish the Hookup on Music could go on actual tour. That would be cool. But what was cool was that you got to experience this at one time and got to share that experience with you. Sunday also was an important day at Riot Fest. It was awesome. From Mike went. He shared with me that the band Idols, who we love here at the Hookup on Music, they played a set, brought Jack White back out. Hanson, Mbop, they played a set. They brought out John Stamos. I was like, when artists come and stick around the whole festival and do some other stuff, that's what I would do if I was a musician and I didn't have a concert the next night. I personally wouldn't book one, but I would say, you're not booking when I'm at a festival, especially on a Friday or Saturday night. You're not booking me the other nights. And if I'm playing Sunday, you better not book me the days before. maybe one day in my make-believe mind, I will be in a cool band. Because as I stood there and looked out there and watched these band played, that was the one thing I thought that was the coolest. I did not find it to be scary if I needed to walk out there and sing a line of any artist, as long as I knew the song. That was important. But Riot Fest celebrating 20 years, it was definitely awesome to go, and it was definitely awesome to experience it. Now it makes me, like I said to my other buddy, the experience to go to more concerts, to put ourselves out there more, is important for the Hookup on Music. But I'm just glad I was able to sit here and share this little tale with you. How quickly it popped up. It wasn't planned. What I can suggest is, like I stated, always go out there and do some fun stuff, because you just really don't know when you're not able to do that anymore. Really, you just don't know when could be the last time, or so go out there and do that and have experiences, because it is important. What's also important is making sure you tune into all the awesome stuff that we do here on the network. Go back and watch last night's It's Getting Drafty in here. They did a really awesome Mount Rushmore of cool wrestlers. Last week I was on the show. We did those 1980s albums. You can go back and check that out. Check out all the other Hookup on Music episodes. There is 130 of them now. You also can go back and check out some of the other cool stuff on there. The At the Show podcast, that's not on this Friday, but it will be back next Friday, talking Halloween stuff. I'm sure there's a frame to frame to come. Go to the statisticpenguinstudios.com website and please support us. Thank you so much. There are cool stickers to buy. If you happen to be on the lookout, to let us know and we can hook it up. My name is Tony. This is the Hookup on Music. And let me just tell everyone out there, go out to some shows. It's awesome. And we'll see you again next.
Thank you for listening. Please look out for the audio version wherever you jam.